Good afternoon. It's fun to be here. So he mentioned making time. I think it's not me making time, it's me being able to enjoy taking the time to be able to be here and listen to you. I read through how you were vetted out. So out of the large number of people from whom you were chosen, that means that you must have a lot on the ball to be able to have made the cut and to come here and be a part of of hearing about UPS. Now, I hope you enjoyed what you heard, and I hope that you were able to draw some information out of it that might make some of you who are entrepreneurs use that information in what you go back home and do, or maybe it creates a connection with another business or with UPS that creates a relationship that happens in the future. I've been at UPS for 31 years, almost 32, and I will tell you that when I first started here, I had no intention of staying here. So the fact that you are here, and you may think that once this is done, you go on with your life and something else will happen, I'm here as a testament to say you never know. You never know what's going to happen. And I'm sure another part of having you here, now I had written notes as I sat in the back to recap what was covered today, and that's typically what you do in a closing, but I'd rather not do that because I have a feeling you remember what was spoken to you about, so it's not necessary to redo it. But what I'd like to talk a little bit about as a closing is the context of this. So I heard a couple of comments about UPS being a 108-year-old company. Well, there's only really, in my mind, one way you survive to be 108 years old. And I know that Andrew probably has a proverb from back home that he could use for this. He's got 10. I may have to have you write them down and send them to me, but I believe that either as an individual or as a company, if you're not growing, you're dying. And UPS didn't last 108 years by doing the same thing it always did from beginning to end. And there were a lot of avenues by which we received a transfusion of thought or a transfusion of a new idea. And that happened through all of the people who came up through UPS. People like me, people like anyone who works at UPS came with the idea that I can make this better. It just so happens that the company created an environment where those ideas could be received. Trust that for me to be here and for other UPSers to be here, the reason that we volunteer to come and take time out is because we get out as much as you get out of an exchange. Just even the way you ask questions makes us old people think and makes us take ideas back to what we're doing to try and install that. Sometimes corporations suffer from stasis because we lose some of the entrepreneurial spirit in the dialogue of a corporate meeting. What you bring is an entrepreneurial spirit that helps us take a bit of an infusion and maybe live a little bit longer because you bring new ideas. My hope is that somewhere along the line, whether it's a year from now, 5 years from now, maybe one of you will start a business that UPS will see in any country in Africa, because there has to be more global growth for us, and maybe we'll partner. Many of our relationships in Africa are from partnerships. It's not necessarily from us coming in and buying the company or from us coming in and going organically and putting that company out of business, because nobody knows your home better than you do. So how can someone come in and do a better job at your customers and at your environment than you can do? And that's how we grow. I'm the president of the Global Logistics, and I'm telling you that there are as many companies that we acquire because they have something that we can't create as there are those that we partner with because they know things that we don't know. So I would say from the exposure that you have to UPS and from the exposure that we have to you, keep growing and keep trying to run your business both from your heart and from your head. Because from your heart you know and you believe what should happen. from your head, you have to have a business sense to be able to transform that into something that works on the balance sheet. From how much you invest and when you invest, to who you partner with and who you don't partner with, from how fast you grow to how much you stay away from. All of those things play into your ability to be an entrepreneur that lasts, that can partner with some other source of revenue that helps you. And the conversation that all of the presenters had with you, I think, is more of a look into the future of what was Jim Casey's entrepreneurial adventure, the 4 founders from 1907. They were at one point entrepreneurs just like many of you are. And they had other people come in and give them ideas, and they were exposed to companies that already existed. They copied from other companies. One of the fun facts about UPS is the reason that if you ever wonder why the uniforms are brown, the reason, at least this is one of the stories that I heard, is that Jim Casey in 1907 wanted to mimic a quality symbol. And at that time, railroads were considered a quality organization. And so they had Pullman brown, which was the color of the railroad uniforms back in those days. And he wanted to be associated with that same sense of quality. So there are things that exist today that you will grab and try and make a part of what you do, just as you coming in here and spending some time with us gives us the opportunity to grab from you, keeping this mic, gets us to grab from you some of the ideas that helps us grow. Some of those things you'll do on your own. And they'll be seen by either UPS or some company. Maybe one day you'll be standing up here as the global logistics president of Africa. Because one thing we do know is there's only 5% of the global consumers in the US. 95% of them are outside of the UPS. I'm sorry, outside of the US. So if UPS wants to live to be another 108 years old, where do you think the consumers that we're doing business with will be? Outside of the US. Africa has a huge amount of potential. Just as there exists in China and India, and as the infrastructures are brought up to par, those things will become easier to take advantage of. So I hope you enjoyed today, and I know that I'm standing in between you and the bus, and it's time to take your picture, but I want to tell you that I enjoyed the energy, I enjoyed the questions, I enjoyed the opportunity to have a little dialogue during the break, and this is what old guys like to do. We like to hear from young minds and young people because it helps keep us young, just like some of the people that we run into outside of the old man and old lady set. So with that, I hope that you all have safe travels back to where you're going. I hope you enjoyed the time here, and I hope you're able to take something back to where you live and work, as well as the long-term hope that someday I might see some of you again before the old man retires. Maybe you'll have something that we'll be working together on. So with that, bon voyage.